the record button. Okay, we'll pass it over to Pawan. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining today. There's a special info session about practical legal training with College of Law. Before we start, I would like to start with the acknowledging Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as the traditional custodian of Australia and pay my respect to elders past and present. We extend the respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today. My name is Pawan Sinha. I'm the Careers Director within Dictum Society. Today we have got Dr. Alan Davis and Alexander to talk about PLT session with the College of Law. With this, I would pass it on to them to introduce themselves and start the presentation. Over to you guys, Alexander and Dr. Alan Davis.
Go on, Alexander, you go first. I'll throw you under the bus first. You can go first and introduce yourself.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Alexander. So I'm a recent graduate of Victoria University. Some of your faces look quite familiar. So I graduated, I think it was a year and a half ago, and I did my PLT with the College of Law. I'm currently practicing as a solicitor at Acrylex Barristers and Solicitors. I've been actually into my first year of practicing as a lawyer. It's very, very interesting, and we are all very lucky to be alumni of VU. The block mode is amazing. It will actually help you so much when you do your PLT with the College of Law because of the intensity and the way it's going. And it's pretty much what I'm doing right now. I'm actually handling 25 matters. Don't think that when you practice the law, you're only handling one case. No, you're handling like multiple, especially with a firm that you're working for. My firm, we specialize in criminal law, family law, commercial and civil litigation, and immigration law. So I'm across all matters, across all jurisdictions. So I'm a very, very, I'm a very regular. I appear very regularly at the magistrates' courts as well as the Supreme Court. I just ended a trial at the Supreme Court for attempted murder. So enough of me. I'll hand it back to Dr. Davis.
That's much more exciting than me, no. So, yeah, welcome. Now, I'm Alan, just call me Alan. So my background is I'm originally from the UK. I graduated, I have a music degree from Edinburgh University. That was harder than my law degree, actually. My law degree from Bristol University. And then I did my bar readers course, which is like the PLT, but one whole year, full-time, Monday to Friday, at Cardiff University. I want to do Scotland, England, and Wales. I have been practicing for a barrister for, I don't want to say, I think it's almost 20 years. I don't feel old enough. A friend of mine said the other day, you know, it's always, I said, don't ever mention that again. That's disgusting. It's a secret. Be quiet. So that's me. My chambers are Goldsmith Chambers in London. So I practiced in regional and metropolitan. And I'm originally from Essex, so the north part of Essex, the nice countryside of it. I originally came to Australia on what's called the Pegasus Trust Scholarship. So one barrister a year gets it in England and Wales. And you learn and build connections up with other Commonwealth jurisdictions. So I chose Australia. I was lucky enough to get it. I'm the first person from my family to go to uni. I've got three sisters. My mum and dad sent them out to school, sent them out to work at 13, 14 years old. So I was the lucky golden child. So no connections, no nothing. And worked my way up. So I was lucky enough to get Goldsmith Chambers. That's one of the top chambers in England and Wales. So I got them the Pegasus Trust Scholarship. One barrister gets it. It was the most awful interview. I screwed up. I'm really bad at interviews. You know, when it's kind of a fake process and you just know that you're screwing up. That's normally me. Anyway, surprisingly, I actually did get awarded it. So I came to Australia and I was allowed to practice in indictable crime at Victoria Legal Aid. I then went up to the Northern Territory and assisted individuals for NAJA, Northern Aboriginal Justice Agency, in Catherine, and went out to Dagaragu and Kalkarinji. I then sat in the various courts to learn how to be a judge. And I was meant to go back to do that in the UK. You know, when you get that horrible sinking feeling in your tummy and you're having a great holiday and you don't think you can go back to those 4 a.m. starts, and winter is cold at 2 a.m., you know, it's dark at 2 p.m. and you get that weird feeling in your tummy. That was me. So I still went backwards and forwards, but Judge Paul Grant actually said, you know what, maybe you should do a PhD. Well, my problem is if you don't say no quick enough, you've already said yes then, haven't you? It's a bit like when you don't want to go to that party and you didn't say no, so you expected to go. So I said yes, and I did a PhD at Monash University, where I was lucky enough to learn how to teach there. So I started off as tutor, then became lecturer, and then became chief examiner, Crim, on the undergrad and JD program. So I was there for just over, I think, 6 years. Then I left there and started, and I still practicing between different things. And then I joined the college. So my role at the college, been there for, I think, 6 years now, almost 5, 6 years. I'm a senior lecturer in Victoria, but I'm also the director of academic quality for College of Law overall. So that's my role. So I have a dual role. I think it's super important. If you're going to test quality, you need to also, can't always be in your ivory tower. You need to try and teach all different levels so you know what the problems are. So that's me. Favorite subject, I guess, no. I also have a little dog that's currently sitting over there, and I rushed home from the college day, which is based at 555 Boat Street. He's currently tooting. So if you can hear the tooting, it's not me. It's my dog called Terence, and he's waiting to be fed. During exams, if you do join the college, if you get the wrong answer, he also toots. So if you ever get me going forward and you hear tooting, it's not me, I promise. It's my dog. So that's me, but enough about that. I will now share my screen, if that's okay. Any questions, feel free to interrupt. I'm fairly informal. I used to join VU when you used to have the little sandwiches and stuff at Flagstaff Gardens. I used to come along to that. That was fun. That's pre-COVID days. Right, let's see if I can share my screen now. I did a very rookie error. I updated my Mac software, and I don't think everything's caught up. So I can only apologize, because in Teams, I now can't right click. So I look completely incompetent. So I apologize if anything goes wrong. Can you see my screen? Well, that's a good start, isn't it? Good. All right. So College of Law, PLT. Now, the PLT is essentially the next course after your degree. Think of it as a finishing course, but it's not academic. And I painted this name. It's pracademic. So enough about what happened in 1066 and how you apply that judgment. This is now providing the practical skills in a legal environment. All right. So it's those practical skills, and it's various tasks and subjects. So go on and explain that later. But it's I actually think it's a very well-written course. It can be tough at times. It's not a tick box exercise, but at College of Law, and I generally stand by this, the same as my students at Monash, and I'm still in touch with them today, you're not just a number. You become part of a professional family. And that is super important, FYI, super important. And remember, you don't have to choose us. So we need to do a good job and make it right for you. Same as you chose Victoria University, they need to do a right job for you. You didn't have to go there, right? It was your choice. So it needs to be right for you. It needs to be the right fit, the right vibe. So this course you have to do if you want to be admitted as a lawyer. It's a fused profession here in Victoria, and you have 5 years to complete it by, but it does run out. So the clock is ticking as soon as you finish your degree. And often you don't realize you need to do this and the various other courses. You think, oh, it's just the degree. Well, you know, but think of law not as a job or a career. It's a lifestyle choice. Okay, that's what I got told, and I think that sums up quite well. So, university provides you with the research skills. Although I don't necessarily know what I learned, I have to say, at Bristol University. My law degree was in 2 years. It was an LLM and LLB at the same time. I was lucky if I turned up to the assessments on time. I did have a slight breakdown when somebody said, what did you think of question 5 in equity and trusts. What question 5? I didn't turn over the page. You know when you get a sinking feeling? Yep, nothing I could do. It is what it is. Surprisingly, I passed. I only got 51 though for European Union law. 50 was the pass mark. I still don't know how many countries there were in the EU. So if I can pass it, you can. But so think of the PLT as that next step. It's the transition from the skills you learn on how to do research and now how you apply it. So the PLT is about learning sections, rules, conduct rules, and how you apply it in real life. All right. And mechanisms are really important because they allow you to say to your client, well, we can't do this, or we can do that. So it's a whole lot of skills on how you apply it. Whereas writing about judgments and the Magna Carta, that's for academic study. Although, Alexander, if a client ever mentions Magna Carta in court, you just know you're going to be there all day, right? You just know you're stuck there till 7 p.m. It's a warning sign, everybody. All right, so let's discuss the courses. So you complete your Priestley 11 at Victoria. I know lots of people that teach at Victoria. I have to say, beautiful, stunning building. You're very lucky. I hope you attend every day, especially when you're at such a great location. Very jealous. So you completed your law degree as such, right? You then need to do your practical legal training course. You can start that early before you've completed your degree, but it must be elective units only. It can't be core subjects. Got it? Once you've got your results, you then can start the PLT, and it's a rolling program. There's various dates. It's constantly, you can enroll anytime. However, slight snag is if you're doing your elective units, then obviously you have to strike a balance because you need to pass them in order to continue with the PLT, a bit like a chicken and egg situation. If that makes sense. And Alexander, if you think I'm wrong in any way, you can interrupt. I don't mind, surprisingly.
But you're right so far, Doctor. So
good.
Yes.
Good. That's good to know. Now, the component of the PLT is you have to do a coursework component, which is all your tasks. Then you have to do a work experience component, and there's another course you may have to do with that. And then you have to do CPE, which are modules on various different things. The coursework component is split into various subjects. You have Lawyers Skills Week. Now that is the fun stuff. You get taught how to interview clients, the do's and don'ts and cultural awareness. You then get an ethics workshop. You then have the next day, if it's a full week, Monday to Friday, writing and drafting, not just how to string a lovely essay together. Those days are over. Footnotes, they're over. Those horrors are over. This is now the practical application. And I always say, if you're using more than 5 words in a sentence, something's very wrong. And if you're using big posh words that I can't spell, very wrong. Keep things very simple. So it's learning how to draft different areas of law. Then you have a wellbeing workshop, how to cope with stress, how to manage your time, all those sort of things. And then the next 2 days are my favorite subjects, what I always volunteer to teach, which is advocacy, surprisingly. So you get to do learning how to do trials and apply for adjournments. Although if you ever get me teaching you, if you think I'm going to grant an adjournment, no, not a chance. But it's a safe environment. And it's okay to get things wrong. All right. Think of the PLT as a flight simulator. You do not want to step on a plane without people going through a flight simulator first. And you do not want to be their first passengers, do you? Let's be honest. You probably want somebody else to go first. So that's what the PLT is. It's not like university where you submit that essay, you get a paragraph back, and you wonder why. You have to submit tasks, but if you're still a bit wobbly, you can submit it again. If you still think, I've marked you off as great, well done, and you still want to resubmit it, have another go because you don't feel confident enough, you can. It's the purpose of the PLT. It's not like uni, different mindset completely. So it's, advocacy is the best subject, I personally think. And then the final day is negotiation and alternative dispute resolution. So that's a core subject. Again, you have to do it. So that's Lawyer Skills Week. There's various options, which I'll explain a bit later on how you can actually do that now. I may get that wrong, I have to say, because things are changing. So I always say as it is now, subject to change, right? Typical lawyer. You then do another course after that, once you've done your PLT. Say if you haven't done 75 days of work experience, and I might be wrong here, so this isn't my strongest point, so hold my hand up. You have to do the clinical experience module. That is a 6-week course, and then you have to still find 15 days of work experience. And it's another course just to refine your skills. And it actually is, it's fairly important, I have to say.
Dr. Allen, if I may just say something.
If you insist.
Yeah, so 75 days of work experience are for those of us who can find work experience in a law firm. For those of us who have difficulty finding that practical experience in a law firm, we can opt to choose to study that module.
Yes, and it's now split. So if you can't find any work experience, you can do what's called the in practice component, where you have mentors and you don't need any work experience currently with that course, because it is difficult sometimes to find work experience. Yes, since you put your hand up so politely.
Thank you. Just a quick one. I know with VU...
Famous last words. Famous last words.
It is now a core to do your internship. So since it's a core, could we then apply that?
Oh, I don't know. There's time limits and it depends what. So if you have any questions, I will give you the email to customer engagement team, and they're probably best to answer that. I wouldn't want to advise you, but that's a good point. When did they start that?
I think 2019. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Lizelle, are you talking about the clinic experience that we have to go through?
So the one for
that won't
now,
count.
we have to have internship as part of our core, which is 150 hours. So back, before 2019, I think that wasn't a core unit. So that's always been a question that I haven't had a chance to.
I think you still need to do the CEM. I don't think that counts, unfortunately. That's the same as what, and I might be wrong here, but that's the clinical experience module, I would call it, out at Monash. I didn't know if you do that. You're really lucky. It's a great, it's a unit that you study as part of, and you, that they will be doing various cases, normally land law.
I did mine at West Justice when I was at VU, and when I did my PLT at College of Law, I still had to do the 75 hours.
You still had to do it?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's good experience. Don't knock it, It's all about the journey, not just the destination.
Yes, that's correct. That's
so,
correct. Thank you.
All right. Now, so like I say, lawyers' skills is compulsory week. There's various models and options currently available. For example, you can now do 3 days, first 3 days of interviewing, ethics, and advocacy, and then do writing and drafting and well-being and problem solving later on, a few weeks later. So if you can't take a full week off work, you can now do that. There are evening workshops that are spaced over 6 weeks, 3 hours every Tuesday and Thursday night. It's tiring, but hey, if I can do it, you can do it. There's that option if you can't actually attend for the full 5 days. So there are options available, and we pride ourselves on being flexible and understanding there, I have to say. It has to be the right fit for you. Once you've done Lawyer Skills Week, you then have compulsory units. So your ethics is the first subject. Now, this is not like uni, where you're writing full essays. These are problem-solving tasks where you apply rules and section numbers and mechanisms on understanding what you do in a courtroom or as a lawyer situation in a firm, all right? You then, you have to do trust accounting. And I always say that one, may the odds be in your favor, because it's hard. But hey, look, if I can do it, you can do it. So these are tasks. If you do a full-time or part-time course, you're essentially submitting tasks every 2 days. That's why Alexander is quite right with the blockchain model. You'll be used to that intensity, which sets you up with your resilience, and you can cope with that with your time management. So that's pretty much every 2 days. If it's part-time, You're only doing one task a week. Yay! But it's up to you. That's 32 weeks. Full-time is 15 weeks. And that's not in counting the C and the clinical experience module that you may have to do afterwards, okay? So ethics, you then do civil litigation, which is my favorite subject to teach. And that's what you do a bit of advocacy on. Property law practice, which is tough, but you learn how to manage it. And it's learning how PEXA and land law and land tax and all various horrors that are overcomplicated at university, but we teach you how to do the practical application of it. And you realize, actually, you just need to know that section 19, because that's how the value of land is, or whatever. You then do commercial corporate practice, which is the commercial element of land law, essentially. Then you have the choice of electives. I wrote the crim elective, so hopefully that's good. I pride myself on that. So if there's any errors, I apologize. But you can have a choice of 2, and they're concurrent, whether it's part-time or full-time. All right. So you do them at the same time. Now, after each part of the coursework, you have a 1-hour chat. It's an assessment. It's an all assessment. You have to complete all those tasks before you do it. And it's an hour where we ask you a whole bunch of questions. Open book. You don't have to know all the answers and memorize things. That's university. That's not particularly useful if you've got all your notes in front of you when you're in a law firm or you get shouted at by a judge. So I encourage you perhaps not to know the answer, but you need to know how to look, where to look, interpret, demonstrate, and apply. That's the skill you need as a lawyer, right? Not if you can remember what that judgment says and be the greatest squat in the world with wonderful handwritten notes. That won't necessarily assist you in the real world. So think of those assessments as an opportunity to hone those skills. That's the only grade you get for those assessments. The tasks are just hurdles that you have to be marked off as complete and competent before you're allowed to sit your assessment. And so essentially at present, Lawyer Skills Week is either in person or online. At present, there are changes afoot. Who knows what the regulators do going forward? I don't have my crystal ball, but at the moment they can be in person or online. Depends what you want. I don't think you're prejudiced in any way if it's online, certainly if you not have me, because I will make sure every camera is on and I'll turn it on remotely and I'll make you talk because it's a safe environment. And if you draw attention to you by looking away at the wrong time, I will probably unmute you, but you get to know me pretty well. And you're all equal. You're just as good as me or just as bad, all right? So the assessments are, so the first week, say you do, then after that, you're automatically online. There's no more teaching involved. You're now doing those tasks. At present, there are revision huddles where you can chat to us for an hour. I use them as mini workshops where I try to teach you how to look up those things, find the answers quickly in terms of sections and rules and how to interpret legislation. There's one thing doing it academically, completely different practically. So that's how that works. Elective assessments in terms of that oral assessment is just 45 minutes. That's all it is. If you do crim, you get to do a plea mitigation. It's quite fun, I have to say, but that's my thing. Any questions so far? I tend to talk a lot. My accent doesn't particularly help either. But any questions so far? If you have a question, you have to turn the camera on though. That's the deal. Silence is acceptance.
Just one sec, Dr. Davis, I just wanted to point out that people can also post their questions in chat. We would also have time at the end to ask questions, but as Dr. Davis
and
said,
I'm monitoring the chat too. Not my first rodeo.
So feel free to ask questions now as well. It's not a problem. Go ahead.
And I can even put you into breakout rooms if you want.
Lisa has raised her hand. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
I just wanted to ask, for the compulsory and elective subjects that you offer at College of Law, is that the only one that you offer, or is there just more?
No, that's literally it. That's part of the regulators. That's how it works. There are other courses you can do afterwards. So I'm currently focusing on quality academic quality for our LLM, which is not an LLM like a university. It's the practical application at a higher, more detailed level, say for wills and estates. I heard that subject's dead good. That's a bad joke, isn't it, for 6:27 in the evening, but you can cope. But that's sort of the next level for it, if that makes sense. So it's all about the practical application, but that's all we offer. I guarantee you won't be able to cope with more.
Okay.
It's aspirational if you think you can. Is that right, Alexander, would you say? You're on mute. It's 2023.
Sahar, anyone in there that actually interests you at all, the electives?
I saw about just one or two, because my goal is corporate, family, and immigration, actually.
Yes,
is
yes.
what I want to go on with. So that's why I just asked.
Right. Okay. Because when I was at the College of Law, I did my electives. I chose
What did
criminal
you do?
law and family law. I
And
chose
what do you think of
criminal.
crim? What did you think of crim? I'll put you on the spot.
I love criminal law. I think I was built for it because currently I'm practicing a lot in criminal law.
But was the task okay?
Okay, see, the College of Law is very practical based. It means it really trained me to really go into a courtroom and to apply the skills immediately, as in what the magistrate would want me to say or to do. You know, we all have been to uni, and that's substantive law that we have studied. What the law says, what the section says, what the common law says. But there is another aspect of the law, which is procedural law. So the practical legal training at the College of Law actually trains us on the procedural aspect. And guess what? When you start to practice, you're all going to do procedural law. Very little of substantive law, I'm afraid. Now, when I look back at my studies at VU, it's more of like an essay writing university, to be honest. But it is very important as well, because when we actually start practicing, like for me, you know, I need to draft letters on a daily basis, emails. So whatever that we study at uni really taught me on how to draft. And that's very important. Like what Dr. Davis said from the very beginning. Plain English.
Right.
Plain English.
I'll vote for you.
To the point, succinctly. You got to convey your message across. Nobody has time to read.
And out of interest, what do you think of the crim practice papers?
I love it. It was
good.
Very,
I wrote them.
very on point. Even
that's the right answer.
I struggle a little bit with family law, to be honest. But because I didn't actually know that I would be practicing family law, which I do currently. I've got 3 matters on foot. Family law is very different from criminal law, because even like in criminal law, we have mentions, and then we have directions hearings, further directions hearings, and then we've got contest mention, and then we go into a contest, right? But for family law, it's under the federal and family law jurisdiction. All of the terminology is different. We don't call it mentions, we call it something else. And always things get settled during mediation. And even when, you know, across all jurisdictions like magistrates courts, county court, Supreme Court, family court, federal and family court, the way of things that it's being done, like filing and all of that, is completely different. So practical legal training at the College of Law prepared me for that.
So you have practice papers that we write, and we pride ourselves on good quality there. And so far,
I'll be totally honest, Dr. Davis, till today, I do refer to my notes from the PLT at College of Law.
Even for crim?
Yes.
Good. That, again, is the right answer. I would definitely vote for you.
I do. I was for a very long time considering if I should subscribe to another institution other than a College of Law. But when I started practicing and I met a lot of my peers who had done at other institutions, I was very glad I did a College of Law, because I sailed through COL. I completed my PLT in 4 months. The lecturers are all lovely, very highly supportive. I'm telling you, we need very supportive lecturers who will convey the message across, very caring. They tell you what you need to do, what to pass, and you get it done.
So for each task, you, as I said, there are hurdles for each subject, and you may have to what's called resubmit. It's not like at uni when you fail and that's it and the world's the end. No, you can have another chance. You can have as many goes as you feel fit until you feel confident. I might mark you off as completing the system, but I might say, you know what, Zoe, I think you might need to just have another go. I'm going to invite you to resubmit because I'm not sure you're 100% confident. You're still a bit wobbly, and I want to make sure you're confident. So you use each task as an opportunity. So I actually learned nothing in my crim essays at uni. I don't think the lecturer even liked me. I actually know she didn't like me because I asked for a reference and I opened it and read it just to confirm my suspicions. So I learned nothing. But my practical legal training, I learned everything. But those practice papers are super important. So there's lots of resources and we take them very seriously. All right. Now let's just go on to...
Can I say something though, Dr. Davis, before you continue?
There
are no exams.
What would you do if I said no?
I was just saying anyway. Sorry, I need to argue my case.
Oh, well, I'll let you. You're on.
I apologize. I was just joking. Okay, so because I was in all of your situation before, and I can understand and empathize what you're thinking right now. There are no exams, but there are assignments. And I tell you, College of Law, there is a 1 hour, what do you call that, doctor?
So it's a 1 hour oral assessment, which is the conversation where we test you on the tasks, open book, and we need to make sure you know how to apply the law in certain situations and scenarios.
I always love this because it really prepared me to go into court, standing in front of the magistrate or the judge and argue my case. That was really what that helped me to gain my confidence and to actually present my matter succinctly and to know what to say to the honorable judge or magistrate. So I
like to interrupt, gentlemen. I just wanted to point out that we have got 15 minutes left.
That's okay. Plenty of time. I can handle that. I can handle that. So the oral assessments is your opportunity to showcase your understanding and demonstrate an understanding, okay? But you don't be scared of it. I always say use it as an opportunity to hone those skills because you'll get no other chance to do so. Who cares about the grade as such? You do obviously have to pass. I don't care about the mark. It's about building those skill sets. And actually, I asked one student to experiment and try different skill sets with how to find answers and how to demonstrate an understanding. That student almost failed every single one. But you know what he got for the last assessment? 99. He got there. He was ready. Now, I don't take my job for granted, okay? It's a privilege. I'm at the end of my journey, but it's a privilege and an honor to be part of yours because you are the next generation, okay? So you need to use the opportunity, take it by the bull by the horns and use it as that opportunity. We take our jobs extremely seriously at the college. You do become part of a professional family. You're not just a student, A1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have lunch with my past students, although one emailed me a week ago, I haven't got back yet. But you still, you do become part of a professional family. And I had some students that finished last week on my course, and I said, you know what? It's been a pleasure to see you grow, develop, hone those skills. And I said to her, I said, you know what? I now think you're ready. So you go out and make that difference. And it's a privilege to see you grow with that confidence. So you get all your feedback, all right? Work experience, I've discussed that, 15 and 75 days, so that's fine. So you're worried about time. You have to do CPE points. They're mini modules. Get used to it because you have to do CPD going forward in the vein of everybody's life. You have to do it. This is the taster. It's time consuming, but it does give you a good skill set. This is what you'll be doing as a practicing lawyer, and it's your introduction. So it's 15-30. There is an intensive 18 weeks now where it's the first few weeks are intensive. So you do all the subjects, lawyer skills, all at the same time, kind of over 2-3 weeks. And then the rest becomes part-time or full-time. It's slow. It's half part-time, half full-time. So it's sped up at the start as an intensive. and then it slows down after that. All right. But you have to choose the right fit for you. There are intakes all the time. We go by numbers. We go by you. We don't say, oh, we're only starting in September. That's not how it works. You're the customer as such. It's your choice. Okay. You have what's called in student services a customer engagement team. They can advise you on your best, when can you start? What about that? Does my internship count? Can I start while I'm still doing my electives? How does it work? Can I do this? They can support you. You then have the lecturer, where we have discussion forums, we have huddles, and don't think of us as a lecturer like at uni, but we're your supervisor. So I will treat you equally as part of my team. We also now have mentors as part of the PLT, where you ring up and ask for career advice and how to apply the law and directions and journeys. And then we have Susan Pincus, who is our career coach. She is amazing. I'm not just saying that like an info commercial, but wait, there's more. She is actually very, very good. But if you get me as lecturer, I'll check your CV. I'll check things. I have no problem with helping. All right. Once I stop wanting to enjoy my job, I won't do it anymore.
It's very supportive. When I actually graduated, I was looking for a job. I couldn't find a job within 8 weeks. I was stressed out. I contacted Susan. She actually gave me a lot of directions. So
good. She's very caring. One of the nicest people I know, I have to say. College of Law is chosen by a lot of students. We do the PLT in-house for a lot of firms. We pride ourselves on that. But again, you don't have to choose us. So we need to make sure we're doing the right job for you. But we are trusted. Our head office is in Sydney. We've got brand new offices, beautiful offices in the PLT at 555 Burke Street. I have to say that they are lovely. With beautiful facilities, and it's all in the legal quarter, which again is super important. We are located all around Australia. Surprise, surprise. But if you choose to do it in the Victorian course, obviously you're studying Victorian law. All right, so please bear that in mind. And finally, there are various options to pay. It can be a bit confusing. It can be overwhelming. I mean, I'm still paying off my debt from my music degree. Aspirational, if I'll ever be able to pay that off. If it goes to 35 years, it's been 32, I don't have to pay it. I'm going to just see if I can get to 35. But there is support. There are even bursaries, all different things available. Contact the customer engagement team. They can help you. They can push you in the right direction, okay, in terms of hexing or how to do things. So there is support for you. Like I said, you can do all the intakes. They're all year round pretty much. Balanced is a new course where you do those 3 days and then 2 days later on. There's other 2 workshops. So that's an experiment at the moment. It's only just started, but good feedback. I always ask students for real feedback. I check their evaluations. If I'm doing a bad job, I need to know. I don't care about the next lot so far. I say I care about you. So if I'm going wrong or I need to do something different, you let me know. Okay, so I can make that difference. And you can scan that QR code quickly to get some further information. I asked this to be updated by our Director of Customer Engagement today. So feel free to take that if you haven't already done so. And the details to contact for enrolments are there, and the number. And surprise, surprise, you can even book a call. So it's on your terms, although they answer pretty quickly. But be really upfront with them. They're human beings. I meet them on a regular basis. They're lovely people, and they will help you. All right. And if we're not the right fit for you, we're not the right fit. When I went to university, I went around and snooped every single provider until I got the right vibe. As they say in the castle, it's the vibe, Your Honour. And that's super important. Okay. But I'm very fond of Victoria University. I used to work with Kathy Lester, who used to be at VU. So I know Victoria University well, and I am very jealous of your premises because it's opposite the Children's Court. And my PhD was on children's rights and human rights law and youth justice conferencing. So do go into that children's court, ask for work experience, write in and ask the magistrates for work experience. If you don't ask, you don't get. All right. The world is your oyster. The only limitations are you and what you see. All right. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that gives you some information. I will write my details in the chat for everyone. Feel free to keep in touch if you ever want a coffee. Sometimes I might take a little while to reply. I have to say, I can be disorganized with my email. But as I say in the law firm, just send it again and do FYI. I won't be offended. It's perfectly fine. I still don't understand email trails in the new Outlook. That's really irritating because they seem to link things that have no connection. So, any questions? Am I over time? Am I exactly on?
No, actually, you did really well. You accelerated after my interruption, and the acceleration was amazing. You finished before time.
See,
Well
there you
done.
go.
Question.
Thank you very much.
Let's open it for questions. Feel free to ask on video, or you can just put it
There
in.
is a question on the meeting chat, Pawan, that I've been alerted to, if I may. My understanding from Casper, yeah? My understanding is you can complete your supervised legal
I
training.
didn't get that chat. What's wrong with me?
I also didn't see. Can you please?
Sorry, I sent it to Alexander because we
Why are
didn't want
you the
to disturb
chosen
you.
one?
So I think
Because
for
you
the
chose
benefit
me,
of
Dr.
everyone,
Davis.
it'll be good if you can just say what is the question and then answer that.
May, would you be happy to do that?
Yeah, definitely. So we have a question from Caspar. Basically, he's asking that he's trying to complete his PLT in a suburban law firm that has said they may have to fulfill some of the requirements through Leo Cusson, as they may not be able to help fulfill all of them. The question is whether if you...
What do you mean fulfill? What do you mean fulfill?
Caspar, are you still on?
Hi, Casper. No, Casper?
Casper has ghosted us.
Something I said.
So
My
basically,
understanding is you have to do, you can't suddenly change and do a unit here and a unit there. Life doesn't work like that. We're separate institutions. You can leave an institution and then start again at another one. Sometimes credits are brought forward. It's a complicated process. Things are different. Approaches are different. You have to see if the approach is right for you. I would say, I don't know what Casper meant by fulfill. It might be payment, I guess. Yeah, I don't fully appreciate
Doctor,
that.
I understand what the question is, actually, if I may.
If you may, yes.
Because I've got a colleague in my previous firm, she actually did the same. So it's a supervised legal training where she actually went to work in a law firm for 12 or 18 months, and then certain units that still needed to be done at the College of Law. So I believe this is the question in this particular context.
So you have to do those compulsory units, though. There's no, even if you're at a law firm, you still have to do those compulsory units, whether you're at Leo's or at College of Law or any other provider. There are other providers beyond Leo's, but Leo's does provide influence with work experience. They might have the link up there with that law firm. So that's how that counts. College of Law will help you find it, but we don't provide it. I think Leo's provides it in that sense. So maybe that's the link up there with the fulfillment of the work experience part, but it wouldn't affect the actual compulsory units. You can't just because you're at a law firm suddenly skip some. Unfortunately, the VLAB regulator won't allow that.
Sorry, Dr. Davis. Casper just returned. He's back on.
Casper! Testing, Casper, coming, Casper.
Well, my understanding is it's best to check with VLAB, which is the Victorian Legal Admissions Board, because they're the ones who actually would dictate if we would satisfy the criteria for admissions or not.
Yeah, but also speak to our customer engagement team, see what they say. But I would say it's the link up with work experience. It's whether you're at a law firm, you still have to do those compulsory units. It's a VLAB requirement. We don't make you do trusts. It's VLAB. We teach you how to apply it. It's not us that decides what happens. It's VLAB, which is also housed in the same building as College of Law. They're very nice people, oddly enough. I know them very well. They're lovely.
Any questions about the practical legal training aspect? Because I've been through the whole thing. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me.
You're on mute, Casper, or you're it's not quite working. No. You did an update on Zoom, didn't you? That's a rookie error.
So would anyone else have any questions for our guest speakers for College of Law? That was the only question in the chat so far.
Dr. Allen, I have a question, Dr. Allen. I've been in the immigration work for last 23 years. I mean, that's the only area I'm going to practice going forward. I mean, even after finishing my PLT.
Yep.
So is there any kind of exemptions, because I'm not going to be practicing?
No, none at all. VLAB requirement is you have to do every unit, because once you get your certificate, they can't stop you suddenly doing something different. There's no restricted certificates as such in Victoria. There may be going forward, who knows? But no, unfortunately, you have to do all of it, whether you like it or not. And you know what? You might change your mind. Just because it's your dream career now doesn't mean it is in 20 years. I'd like to own a coffee shop and do painting. So that's how that. So yeah, there's no exemptions. There might be exemptions if you do an LLM with us. Certain things and credits are taken then if you want to go into the specialized application of it, and there's lots of resources there, and they're good LLMs. But no, that doesn't work for the PLT, unfortunately. There used to be exemptions for NDR workshop, the negotiation workshop. That normally takes place on a Friday, and that no longer exists. You have to attend even if you've done that at university. So yeah, it is what it is, I'm afraid, Edward. So the same in the UK, by the way. You can't suddenly I never intended to actually practice in children's law. Never intended, never ever wanted to, but suddenly I am. Well, lucky I did all those units, I guess, maybe. But yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Davis.
Good question, though. Good question.
There is another question from Casper. Can you do the PLT part-time over longer than 12 months if doing supervised legal training in a law firm?
So supervised legal training affects your ability to practice. It's a good question. Can you actually tell me which section of the LPUL, this may be a question, Alexander, but I want to know from you, Casper, which section gives you guidance on that in the appropriate LPUL or conduct rules? Because there is a whole section that you may need to know about that in supervised legal practice, whether it's 2 years or 18 months. But the courses are, let me get that slide up, if I can find it. It's yada, yada, yada. I give up. Well, it's where did I find the slide where it had the 18 weeks or 15 weeks? Where was that?
Slide 15 or 16, I think.
Was it? Did I delete it? No.
You got a fee structure one has 15 plus weeks something.
Oh well, never mind. Point is, it's 15 weeks if it's full-time, 18 weeks if it's semi-intensive, and then part-time, and then 32 weeks roughly if it's part-time. Now, you can extend that potentially if there's dramas, and you can swap courses. Some people starting full-time, it's very aspirational. They're working 75 hours a week and also want to do the PLT. You need to strike a balance. Health is more important, family is more important, so then perhaps you can swap out. But any questions in that regards, you email enrollments. They won't bug you, just be really upfront. They're there to help. That was a political answer I gave there, wasn't it? Don't vote for me, though.
Everybody at the College of Law is always on hand to help you. They reply the emails within 24 hours, maximum 48.
I might have done 72, though. I'm so sorry. I might have broken the golden rule.
You're a doctor, you're different.
Another question, Dr. Davis. Does
Yes.
College of Law also help us to file the applications, help us, because I think yesterday I was attending Leo Cousins and they were saying there are no exams for them, of course, or the hearing one hour.
They still have to do assessments.
Yeah.
Whatever you call it is a matter for the institution, but you still have to be tested on your demonstration of the law. So whatever they want to call it is a matter for them. I have friends that work for that institution. I know them very well. I talk to them on a regular basis. But however you want to call it, you still get assessed. There's different procedures and processes, but I don't think it's necessarily fair to say there's no testing.
In terms of the application as well, they said they'll be helping us to give us a hand.
So we have VLab come in. They do talks. They explain the processes and conduct rules. If you have any discussions there, they come in. You actually meet some of the members and chair of the board and get to talk to them and ask your questions directly, which I think is super important. So that's how that works. There is an individual in enrollments that can discuss certain work experiences. They're the experts on it. I don't say I'm the expert. I'm the lecturer on the PLT as such. But yes, that's what I'll say.
I'm a little bit lost. Applications for what?
VLab enrollment admission.
VLab enrollment.
No, you got to apply on your own. And then once you pass, College of Law will submit your result slips to VLab together with VU, same thing.
But we have VLab come in to do talks to explain the process and concerns if need be. Because sometimes you might be scared that you've got a parking ticket or you ran that red light at South Yarra and it flashed. Did it flash? Did it not? Did it? Oh, can I practice? The world comes to an end. All those sort of concerns. We can't give you advice on that. We can sometimes point you in the right direction. We're not allowed to give advice, but VLab, they do a talk. They come in and sometimes it actually gets recorded as well. So it's a pretty good information session, I have to say. Sometimes you just need to hear things from the horse's mouth.
There is another question. It's from Margaret. How many days a week does the full-time entail?
So full-time, your Monday to Friday is Lawyer Skills Week. You're in person or online. After that, you don't see us ever again. It's online learning, which you should all be used to thanks to COVID, unfortunately. But it's online and you submit the tasks. You're reading the resources. You communicate via email. You can give us a call if you want and everything. We have our huddle revisions now, where I normally do them on a Sunday evening. You might find me in my pajamas, but it is what it is. And that's how it works. There's no more lectures or workshops after that. It's only the first week to set you up with the relevant skills to do the course. Okay, it's not like uni. It's not, you don't have those workshops. So it's pretty good if you're working full time. Because you can fit around things. I've never not granted an extension. Just ask, it's polite, then I can plan my time and we'll see how it impacts things. It's aspirational if you think you're going to get everything done on time, but we're here to help. Yeah.
Thank you.
Would you agree with that, Alexandra? Alexandra, would you agree to that?
I would agree 100%. I would just say this very frankly to all of you, because I've been in your similar situation just not too long ago. I've got colleagues who have actually done a PLT at other institutions, and when we actually exchange notes, you know, and when we reflect on what we had to do or what we did not have to do, they have actually commented that they should have actually subscribed to College of Law. This I can tell you. And I love the flexibility at College of Law because I managed to complete my PLT in 4 months. Bear in mind that I'm very old. I'm 50 years old this year.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
I am 50. So I knew that time was really running out and I just wanted to start practicing very quickly. And I really appreciated Victoria University. And I appreciate College of Law even more. And that is why I'm currently the ambassador of College of Law. This is a non-paid position. And I'm spending my time assisting all of you to answer questions, even though I've had a very long day at a law firm today. And I'm committed to help my fellow alumni members from VU.
Okay, we have got 3 more questions. I would start with Sahar. Go ahead, Sahar.
I just have like 2 questions to ask in regards to the College of Law. You said that once we have to graduate and get a permission from the board to start PLT, how soon would that have to be?
So what is permission is if you're still doing your electives,
Okay.
because you're then overlapping between university and the PLT.
So what if we finish our university?
So
like
once you finish your uni, you can then apply anytime you want and do the start of the PLT. Once you've got your certificates of completion from the uni on my calls, it gets electronically sent, and it's simple. Yeah, rolling.
Is there a time period that we have to start? For example, like if I finish my degree and I want to do a postgraduate, I don't want to go into PLT.
You have 5 years to do your PLT.
So 5 years, okay.
At present, and you can blame the Brits for that because we had that damn rule, and Victoria decided to mimic it. Damn bunch of drainers. No, they're lovely, really, but you have 5 years, and you have to make sure it's the right journey and pathway for you. A lot of people I'm finding now are doing it on their 5th year because they're panicking and they realize that actually they want their opportunity. They may not want to, but they want to have that option open going forward. So I've noticed a lot of students around me that are quickly trying to do it because they're realizing they've got a time limit and restriction.
Can you also do overseas or just in Australia, PLT?
PLT is the Australian regulator, and there's different regulators for each states and territories. If you do it overseas, good luck. You have to apply to VLAB again to have it transferred over. Things are not always that simple, and it's a complex, long process. Taking account if you practiced over in that country, is it a Commonwealth jurisdiction? What did you actually do there? Where, what, where, how, when, and why? So that's the regulator's decision, nothing to do with us. There are people, it's called the PART program, where they've been practicing for 20 years over in England, and they realize suddenly they want to be in the land of sunshine and opportunity and wonderful beaches with flies that sting, and everything will try to kill you. Even if it looks cute, it will still want to. They are still units they may well have to do. It depends on their work experience. It depends on their level of practice. I had a barrister friend that was my boss in my same firm, in my chambers in the UK, and she decided to become a diving instructor and thought, oh, I better try and transfer over here. I taught her at Monash, which was a little bit embarrassing, on constitutional law and ethics, and then she did the PLT. So there's certain units that you have to do if the VLAB regulator requires it. It's a matter for them, it's a matter for the board. We don't make those decisions.
Okay, thank
Second
you.
question?
Thank you, Dr. Davis. I think we are coming to the close of the event. I would just take the last question. It's from Glazel. Go ahead, Glazel.
Thanks, Pawan. My question is just really to Alex. And firstly, Alex, thank you so much for giving me perspective in terms of a mature graduate. That's really good. In terms of your 4 months completion of PLT, did you find that the starting or when the clock ticks in relation to your work experience, would you then say that that's really paramount to doing it right from the very word go, right? If you've got that 4 months, so to speak, that you're working on.
I think if I understood your question correctly, Glazel, what you meant was with our past experience, is that what you're saying? With our work experience,
correct.
Yeah, assist us 100%. Unfortunately, for the rest of you who are much younger than us, you start from scratch. But because we are mature students, we have got business experiences or commercial experience, I should say. It really helps us practicing the law, not just the PLT, but standing in front of the magistrate or the judge, I'm telling you, arguing your case. And I assure you, there will be curveballs thrown at you. It is so unprofessional to tell the magistrate or judge, Your Honor, I need to seek further instructions. They would stare at you, and the courtroom is full of people. But with our prior experience, or when you harness all of your experiences together, it really puts you in good stead. And the practical legal training at the College of Law actually helps you that. Remember what I was saying, during the assessment, they will ask you question after question after question. And that is what you experience in a courtroom. That is
Or
if
not
you
ju-
want to practice the law.
not just in the courtroom. If you're in the law firm and you're doing a brainstorming session
Same
and the
thing.
senior partner says, "Oh my God, how do we approach this case?" You need to have an angle. What is the approach? And
That's
they'll
right.
ask you.
And the law, when you practice the law, it's very competitive. I assure you, highly competitive.
I'm currently at the Magistrates Court for Family Violence Intervention, and
Yes.
you made a comment about lawyers saying I need to seek instruction. Still
Yes.
happens. They probably didn't go to College of Law.
No.
Here's my comment there.
Yes, and
And-
you
and-
appear,
Comment.
I mean, as an advocate solicitor, I think I would appear very dumb if I actually consistently have to seek instructions and a matter has to be stood down, and the registrar and the judges associate would be very upset with you.
And it's also the forms you have to fill in and how you do the drafting. We teach you, we tell you.
Exactly.
The worst thing is if you draft and submit the wrong form and you get on the wrong side of that registrar, they will make you there stay all day.
They put your name in a
super
black
important.
book. Trust me, they've got a black book behind the counter. Your name would be there.
Bring the chocolates.
Yes, it does. And we teach you that, you know, everybody is equal, whether they are the security staff, whether they're the judge. I treat everybody equal and everybody deserves the same respect. And it's always polite to say, good morning, how are you? And not just like in Woolies where, how are you? Good, thanks.
100%.
No, I'm asking you, how are you? Because I'm actually asking, how are you?
100%, I agree. So College of
you.
Law is the way to go. That's
Thank
my
you.
personal and my sincerest opinion.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Dr. Davis. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. This brings us to the end of the session. I would just pass it on to May. She would like to probably take a group photo together, and we would close the session after that. May, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. It's such a pleasure having both of you, Dr. Alan Davis and Alexander.
Hopefully I've been useful. I feel, Alexander, you are great, I have to say. Well done.
Oh, thank you. You know what? It's when you believe in your case and when you believe in your measure, that's when you argue most effectively.
Yeah, it's the body language. You know, in advocacy, I play Legally Blonde. It's the courtroom scene. You know, when she doesn't actually quite believe in what she's saying,
Where did you
and her
wear
body
off?
language. Yes, I always like Terence. And as soon as she's confident, her body language, you believe her. She understands she's confident. And that's what hopefully we can teach you.
Thank you. Thank you. So now is the grand moment of taking that group photo. So if you'd like to join, please turn on your cameras.
Oh, now you turn it on.
Okay, I'm just going to move everyone.
I'd mark you as absent if you're in my workshop.
Give it a few more seconds. Everyone on that's going to be in the photo. Okay. So in 3, 2, 1, smile. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much. Thank you. And everyone have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye, everyone. Bye.